Welcome to Subscription Prescription, the podcast where you get the information you need to scale your subscription program. Before we jump into this week's dose, I'd like to talk to you about a really common problem within e-commerce, within marketing, and that is content creation. As somebody that has a newsletter, I write social posts, blogs, this podcast, there's tons of content I create day in, day out. There's an issue that I run into all the time is how do I scale that? How do I do more with my content? And for those of you that have been paying attention in the AI space, I'm sure you've been dabbling with ChatGPT and all these other tools. But I'm actually here to talk to you about a different type of tool called Penmo, Penmo.co. Penmo is a software as a service that connects you with real writers. It's a project management platform that allows you to submit writing requests, to make edits, reviews. But the beauty of Penmo is that it connects you with a real person, a real writer. So it's actually a human being, an incredible writing resource that you can leverage in your content creation journey. Penmo is a service that I use as part of my content strategy and is one that I highly recommend you take a look at today, Penmo.co. I'd like to thank them for being a partner and sponsor of Subscription Prescription. All right, now on to this week's dose. Hello and welcome to another episode of Subscription Prescription, the podcast where we try to help you figure out everything related to D2C subscriptions. And on this week's dose, I've got something a little bit special, a little bit different for you. We're going to be talking about my pet peeves when it comes to subscriptions. Now, I want to start by saying this is not me saying I hate when my Amazon service does ... But this is more about when I work with or talk with subscription brands and they're doing something that I think is just absolutely wrong. I'm going to be sharing a lot of those with you today. So I'm not going to rank these in any particular order because it's varying degrees of severity across the brand, but I'm essentially going to walk through the subscription experience from A to Z and point out a few things that I just really don't like, or when I see an opportunity for something that could be a lot better. So it's not completely negative. This is kind of like when you go to the doctor and he's like, hey, you're eating too many hot dogs, but I do really like that you're running. You could run more. So we're going to be doing that on today's episode. All right, so as we kind of kick things off, I want you to keep in mind that, again, a lot of this is just varies from brand to brand. So I hope the takeaway for you on this is that you can pay attention to some of the best practices of how not to do something and some of the best practices of how you can do something related to some of these different experiences. And the first thing that we're going to start with when we're talking about pet peeves I had within subscriptions is brands that don't have or haven't tried testing a quiz. If you've listened to any of these episodes in the past or read my newsletter or seen my social content, you're going to see this. A lot of this stuff is going to sound familiar, but you'll have heard me talk about the opportunity with quizzes. When we're talking about a lot of different aspects and products related to subscriptions, a lot of those things are stuff that people usually have lots of questions or are on an information gathering journey about, whether it's protein powder or vegan milk or a sleep supplement or grass-fed beef, pet food, all these different types of subscription products out there. You have people that are trying to find the right fit for them. A quiz is a great solution if you can do two things with it. One, ask questions, which is part of the quiz, which is what most of you are doing, but get a little bit deeper and ask more like personal questions related to whether they've tried a product like yours before, whether they're familiar with that product before, whether they're what the types of information related to the problem that they're trying to solve with you. And then the other piece, the thing that I don't see a lot of brands doing, or at least doing very well, is actually educating along the way. So if you think about if I were to ask 5 questions related to, say I'm selling a weight loss supplement, and my product is really, really great because it's water soluble. It's something you can add to any type of water, for example. So as I'm asking you questions related to your weight loss journey, I could also be educating you up on the benefits of high water consumption and vitamins that are delivered via water. And so I can do that during the step process, not just asking you like, hey, where are you in your weight loss journey? But hey, where are you in your weight loss journey? Depending on your response, I could say, hey, a lot of people at this stage have seen this as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to educate people as you're gathering information. The next pet peeve I have on the subscription journey is one that's a little bit controversial, and I'm all here for it. So you can bring all the heat if you want. Is when I see a brand that is not prioritizing subscriptions on their product page. Now, this can mean a couple of different things. Some of the most basic things that just kind of like really annoy me is when somebody has a beautiful product, beautiful pictures, a beautiful button, beautiful subscription widget, and they have zero copy related to long term benefits or use cases for people that are using a product like this. It is not that hard to invest in a little bit of copy. This is one of the reasons why I like working with a partner like Penmo, where they're actually making it really easy to come up with copywriting and other services like this, so that you can develop some copy that speaks to what regular consumption looks like for your subscription product. The other piece of this is actually defaulting to the subscribe and save option. Now, this is the part that's controversial, is that a lot of people have tried this. It's gone horribly wrong. Their customer support tickets went up, all these types of things. I'm not saying it's 100% tried and true for every single brand, but I will say that more often than not, you will have a net positive benefit. When we hear stories of brands that defaulted to the subscribe and save option, a lot of those instances are because they weren't doing a good job of showing that there was a subscription happening. So I think that the best practice here is to default to the subscribe and save option. Make it really clear that you're mentioning within that widget or within that selector that you're getting this on this frequency so that people know that it's coming on a subscription. But testing that way often has a drastic improvement to subscription conversions, like from 10 to 20% or 15 to 40% opt-in rate for conversions or opt-in rate for subscribers. Yes, it can increase tickets and have some other problems, but the net benefit is that you'll acquire more subscribers, you'll get more people that are willing to give you a chance on a subscription, and you'll have more opportunities to win them over time. All right. My next pet peeve or thing that really drives Matt Batty up the wall is related to post-purchase surveys. Now, I get it. You're all asking, how did you first hear about us? I get it. I get why that's important. But the thing that drives me just a little bit bonkers is when you're not asking questions related to two key factors. And if you aren't new to my content, you'll know that I harp on these things all the time. But those are questions specifically related to why they made the purchase that day. Was it special? Was it the bundle? Was it the discount? Was it the copy or some other compelling element that motivated the purchase? And you can ask a couple of different questions along that line. The other piece is related to that person's use case. What are you trying to do with the product? Or what have you tried to do with the product? Even if you're selling something as simple as tea, or even simpler, coffee. How many cups of coffee a day do you drink? Do you often switch different flavors? What types of those information? You can take a lot of that same stuff you might be asking on a quiz and ask that within the post-purchase survey. Do you like blends? Do you like French press? Do you like it at home? Do you get it at Starbucks? Like, questions related to that gives you so much rich information to better understand your subscribers. That information gives you the tipping off point for understanding how to retain them better downstream, but also what you can use to put back into your copy and your content and your ads to do a better job of getting people to convert. As a quick example of that, you could be, say, you're running a protein powder as a supplement. You're asking people, are they a weightlifter, an endurance athlete, CrossFit, right? Like, you could ask some of these very specific or very common reasons why people take protein powder as a supplement. If you start to see like an uptick, like say you're marketing already to bodybuilders and you start to see an uptick in endurance athletes, oh, we could test this with a landing page. We could make a very specific offering for endurance athletes talking about the benefits and VO2 max and all this other stuff. You can test that to improve conversions, all just from gathering information at a post-purchase survey. All right. My next pet peeve touch point in the subscription journey relates to welcome emails. This is the sequence or series of emails you send to somebody when they subscribe to your product. Most brands will send an order confirmation email and then they'll send tracking updates, like your order's been processed. Here's the tracking order. Sometimes they'll opt them into content emails that they send to all of their one-time subscribers. but many of you are not sending a subscriber dedicated welcome email. Even if you take your onboarding or your welcome series for one time and you just copy it and then you just update things to talk about subscriptions, that's at least something. But my biggest pet peeve is that so many of you are doing so many cool things related to like how the product is sourced and the delivery system and outcomes and the benefits and life-changing aspects of it. Or you have all this content and resources. Those should all be in emails that you're sending to people before they get their first shipment. So spend a little bit of time beefing that up. I always recommend that you put in a like here's the subscription email first. Here's how you manage it. Here's your perks and your benefits. Here's what's coming your way. And then send them more emails related to founder story or things about your product or recipes or other content that you have available. Another pet peeve is one that I don't see necessarily a ton, but I will mention it. And this has to do with unboxing. Is if you're creating an unboxing experience where you're just touting how great your brand is, you're missing out on a big opportunity, and that is a pet peeve for me. The initial unboxing experience should be geared towards creating an initial successful interaction with your product, right? If you're selling a tea, like green tea, it should be about making that first perfect cup of tea with your product. If you're selling like a massage gun or something like that, like it should be all about how to use that and common muscle groups to target. If it's gluten-free bread, here's recipes, our favorite avocado toast recipe, like from our community. And then you can subtly start to mention in some of the other resources or things that you have available. My next pet peeve relates to cancellation surveys. So this is when we're going into somebody clicks cancel. They have a bunch of reasons that come up. One of my biggest pet peeves here is that brands will put in like 10, 15, 20 different options because you feel like you're throwing this really big net out there to try to gather all this feedback on why people are canceling. And while that's good to gather information, I'm a proponent of gathering information. The problem is what is somebody supposed to do when they see 20 different answers on a cancellation survey? Like, have you done that? How annoying it is? You skip it, or you just put other and you put in some gibberish. So I'd like you to look at simplifying those down to 4, 5, maybe 6. You can go into your subscription app and pay attention to the options that people are already selecting and not selecting. And if you're getting really, really low responses, like under 5%, like just take them out completely, right? Identify your top 3 or 4, keep those in there, invest a little bit more in trying to like make them more nuanced. Like if you have something related to like, I have too much product could also mean somebody has never used the product. So maybe you want to start asking, I have too much product because because I've ordered too much, or I have too much product because I never used the product in the first place, right? Because those are two different use cases. The person who's just ordered too much, you can get them to change their schedule. Somebody that's never used the product, you have to get them to adopt the product to have success with it, right? So I want you to simplify your options and then start doing a little bit of A/B testing related to discounts on some of these things, spending a little bit of time. Again, for something like this is if you have, I'd say at least more than 1,000 subscribers, generally closer to 2K or more subscribers is worth spending a lot of time testing cancellation surveys and offers. If you have them, you need to just set them up to run, but I'm saying like the amount of time you spend trying to optimize them, you just don't get a great ROI spending hours and hours trying to figure this out when you only have 1,000 subscribers and maybe 100 of them are hitting a portal each month, and your work is you maybe save one more order. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is having a clear view of that. Of the 2 remaining pet peeves that I'd like to talk to you about, the first is related to data, contribution margin. I know this is a common term. I know that we all know what this is, that we're thinking about this, but we should be looking at understanding your payback period to related to subscriptions and understanding the contribution margin on average per subscriber you have in your business. If that's something you don't know, at least from an aggregate level, let alone like cohort month over month or via product, you can get a little bit deeper at that. But I'd like you to pay more attention to that and get a better handle on contribution margin, because contribution margin should be the North Star in decisions that you make. Will this change improve my average contribution margin per subscriber? if I make this test or if I offer this at checkout? Will that increase my average contribution margin per subscriber? And then the final thing, and honestly, the inspiration for why I decided to make this particular episode around pet peeves, because you can imagine I run into these pet peeves a lot, and I haven't made this episode before, is actually just really about mindset. There are a lot of you out there that are stressing over churn. You're stressing over people that are leaving and that are canceling. And I'm here to tell you that it's not that you don't need to worry about that. A lot of my content and practice is about improving the subscription experience so that you can try to solve for retention. It's that when I run into a founder or an operating team that is really just worrying about the people that are leaving, the pet peeve or the thing that gets a little bit triggered for me, and that's probably a harsh word, it's more like the thing that I feel like the missed opportunity here, and the missed opportunity in subscriptions is that you're not thinking about how to empower your best subscriber. It's two sides of the same coin. It's just that a lot of times you're focusing on the negative side only and not thinking about what can I do to make things better. I have a cohort of subscribers that love my product. How can I sell them more products? I have a lot of people that love being able to swap things out. How do I make swapping easier? I have a lot of people that love having control over their subscription. How do I create like a build a bundle experience on the front end? What types of products or community or other resources could I develop for these people that really, really love my gluten-free bread or my sleep supplement or my pet food, right? Thinking through that angle of approach within subscriptions will do more than just on the negative side. When we're obsessing over cancellation, we're winning a little bit more at the margins. We're getting out of that 10% of people that might have canceled this month, it's really only 8% or 5%. That's a great win. But you're leaving on the table 90% of your subscribers that are potentially willing to spend more money with you or stick around longer with you for a lot longer than just another order. And that's what I want to kind of like wrap up all these things are is, while you can spend time thinking through how to do better quizzes and post-purchase surveys and welcome emails and unboxing, or even how you're testing cancellation surveys, the one thing that if you take away from all of this would be to think through more how you can enable your best subscribers, how you can unlock more value from them. Okay, that's it for this week's dose. Again, I'd like to give another special shout out to our sponsor and partner, Penmo. If you're looking to level up your content game, I highly recommend looking at their platform and connecting with some of their amazing writers. That's it for this week. Stay tuned for next week's dose of Subscription Prescription. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe so that you can get notified when new episodes come out each week on Tuesdays.